to my June 16th Creating Photos and Videos episode. In my last episode, I talked about the ATEM Mini switcher from Blackmagic that I've been using. And since getting it and using my iPhones as video cameras attached to it, I've run into one problem, that was not being able to get audio from the, using a plug-in into the iPhones through the switcher into my MacBook Pro where I was doing the recording. I've been using the excellent Filmic Pro video app on my iPhones, both my iPhone 6s Plus and my iPhone 10s, but the audio just wouldn't go through. So I've solved that problem, but I'll save that for my next video. Today I want to talk about the workaround that I came up with as a result of having this issue, and just how I made everything work so I could record and get good audio through a microphone. And I'm trying to do that in using it with Zoom for video conferencing when I do my online classes, as well as making a recording like this using the OBS Studio software. In the last video, I showed you how I had the equipment all set up and how I'm connecting things. But today, I want to focus specifically on how I'm connecting a microphone to make this work. So the first obvious choice is to plug it into the Audio 1 port on the ATEM Mini, and you'll see in the video there are two ports actually, and I have my Purple Panda lav mic plugged into port number 1. I'm not using that now, but that's one possibility. That was the obvious choice. However, the problem is that there was a sync issue between the audio coming through that port and the video coming through the HDMI connections, and what it resulted in was a delay of the video. And so you would, if I clapped my hands like that, you would hear the clap before you see the clap, because there'd be anywhere from a 6 to 7 or 8 frame delay in the video, and that's not acceptable. That's when you see lips out of sync with the audio that you're hearing. So just in the last 2 weeks or so, Blackmagic has fixed this with a firmware update to the unit and an update to the ATEM control software, so that you can adjust for that delay. And actually, I've done the update, and I've tried it, and it didn't seem as though there was any delay at all anymore. So I don't know if they did something with that, but that's, again, for a later discussion. So the problem was I couldn't adjust that delay if I was using this setup to do a Zoom session, which is mainly the setup I use when I'm doing Zoom. In the OBS Studio software, there is a feature that allows you to delay the audio, and in milliseconds, and I experimented with that, and I think I had to go to 900 milliseconds so that the audio was in sync with the video. And so I can do that if I'm just doing a recording using the OBS Studio. However, the solution that I implemented before this update from Blackmagic was simply to plug in another obvious choice, but not one I thought of, because I was so focused on trying to get audio from my iPhone into the recording. But the solution I ended up using, and the one I'm using today, is to plug directly into the MacBook, which is the device I'm using to record this on, and it's the device I use when I'm doing a Zoom conference call. I mean, I use the MacBook to start my Zoom conference calls. So I have now today plugged in my Comica wireless mic receiver into my MacBook, and let me show you that. I'm going to use my iPhone and my iPhone 10s and switch that camera. And so now you can see the setup here. So back here is my Comica receiver plugged into the MacBook, and then I have the transmitter, which is going to my lav mic here and sending the audio to my MacBook. So that's that setup, and that's how it's working, and it's working fine. I I wasn't going to include this, but I was just trying my Purple Panda, and I was getting a humming sound, and as I would lower the gain on the audio, it got rid of it a little bit, but then the audio seemed to be a little bit too low. So I've switched to the Comica wireless mic, and I believe the audio, at least in my tests, the audio is much better than it was with the Purple Panda, unfortunately. Because the Purple Panda is nice, you just have to plug it in. With the Comica, I mean, you just have to plug it in, but you have to charge the batteries. And it might have had something to do with the fact that these are battery operated, and so they're working a little bit better. So another point, and one of the reasons I'm using the Comica, is after listening to the audio I recorded last week and using the Samsung Go mic, which is a great little mic, but the problem is, as with most mics, is you need to have the microphone very close to where the sound's coming from. In other words, close to your mouth. And with the Samsung, I had it kind of out here, and so there was that width. And this room is awful because it's all windows for the most part, and a hardwood floor with a carpet, but only it doesn't cover the entire floor. And so that's disaster for audio. I was disappointed in the audio I had last week, so I've sworn to myself I won't use that Samsung because I don't want it right here in front of my mouth on a stand. I could do that, and a lot of people do that, and that's fine. But this is a little bit more comfortable, and it doesn't put the mic kind of center stage in my video. So that's why I've chosen to use the Comica wireless, or to use a lav mic, because it's nice and close to my mouth. I think the sound is probably going to be a lot better than it was last week, and this is the way I'll do it going forward. So the lesson there is, any mic you use needs to be close to your mouth, as close to your mouth as is comfortable and appropriate in a given situation. So that's it for today, and I thank you very much for checking in on this Creating Photos and Videos episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week when we talk a little bit about the other issue that I had and have now solved with using my iPhones as video cameras. Thank you.